Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Crash and cleanup. An 18-wheeler crash shuts down a ramp on I-440. What you're seeing right now is a live look from Sky 5 of the scene where teams are up. They have uprighted that tractor trailer just moments ago. Only on WRAL, hear from a man who rescued the driver moments after that crash.
Make stuff cost less. That's the pledge from one of the candidates running for Tom Tillis's Senate seat. We'll share how Roy Cooper plans to carry out his plan in a live report.
And the warm air is here. It's much warmer right now than it was this time yesterday. And people are enjoying the sunshine here in downtown Raleigh. I'll show you which days we could come close to record highs this week.
All right, let's get back to that developing story as both ramps from Wade Avenue to I-440 are still closed right now because of a morning crash there involving a tractor trailer. Look right here.
Raleigh police say it could take most of the day to get the road cleared and to reopen the ramps. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Chris Lovingood. New in the last 10 minutes, teams have got that 18-wheeler flipped upright again. And WRAL's Heidi Kirk joins us for more on that story. She's live from the scene of that crash. Heidi, what kind of progress is being made there from when you've arrived? All right, looks like we're having some issues with Heidi's mic there, but essentially what she was saying was that they're in the process of trying to upright that overturned 18-wheeler and then remove it from the roadway. Raleigh police say that one of the reasons that closure could last for a while is because of diesel fuel that spilled on the roadway.
And let's get back to Heidi Kirk out there on the scene. I believe we have your mic fixed, Heidi.
Yeah, Renee, well, as I was mentioning, the big bit of progress that was made here is that tractor trailer being turned upright. You can see it again here behind me. Crews have been working all morning to make that happen, but really that is just half the battle here. After they have uprighted that tractor trailer, there's still a lot of cleanup to do, and police say that is because that tractor trailer spilled diesel all over the roadway, and that could take potentially hours, leading to a day-long closure to really get things where they should be here. Now, if you take a look at your screens, you're going to see some footage from Drone 5. We put the drone up just within the hour, showing you some of that work being done to make this right here. Now, the good news, the driver of that tractor trailer was not injured, nor was anyone else here on that scene, according to police. We did speak with someone who arrived on the scene just moments after this happened, actually rescuing that driver. You can take a listen to what he had to say.
And I could see the dust and smoke. Realized no first responders are nearby. Everybody was just driving around. And so I knew it had to happen like within seconds or minutes before I got there. So I put my flashers on, used my truck to block the traffic because people were just driving around it. Ran around over there, helped get the driver out of the truck. He was fine. It was a little.
And that led to a very messy commute for drivers this morning. In fact, that man said that he sat here for about 2 hours just waiting to get through so that they could let those cars make their way onto the interstate here. Now we're still working to learn exactly how long this closure could last. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
The final election results are still trickling in, and these are for the races in the Triangle and other parts of the state. In the Republican primary to represent the state's Senate's 26th district, longtime state Senate leader Phil Berger is trailing his Republican challenger, Sheriff Sam Page from Rockingham County, by just 2 votes. Now, it's rare for legislative leaders to lose elections, much less primaries, but if that happens with this race, it would shake up the legislature. Senate leader Phil Berger was first elected in 2001 and became the Senate President pro tem in 2011. As leader of the Senate, he has strong influence over which measures advance in the chamber. Meanwhile, Sheriff Sam Page campaigned on the notion that Berger lost touch with the needs of his district. We spoke with both candidates last night.
We've got to make sure that every legal vote gets counted, and I look forward to moving through that process in the next days and weeks. We will see kind of how the outcome turns out.
I've worked for 28 years covering our county, working with the law enforcement back and forth across the Guilford County border. We know each other, the citizens know me, and they trust me.
Again, we're not talking about 2,000 votes, not 20, two votes. Election officials will count the provisional ballots, including votes from those overseas. And if the separation still remains below 1%, there could be a recount.
The race is set for the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Thom Tillis. The winner on the Republican side is former Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Whatley. And on the Democratic side, former Governor Roy Cooper. After winning his party's vote, Cooper already has a campaign slogan: make stuff cost less. WRAL's Destiny Patterson joins us live now. Destiny.
Renee, the former governor here, he starts today after a dominating lead during last night's primary. He hosted this event inside of Clouds Brewing here. I counted maybe 60 to 70 people who were inside showing their support for the former governor. He's vying for that U.S. Senate seat after Republican Thom Tillis chose not to seek a third term. Flipping that seat would mean Republicans could help regain control of the Senate. The former governor called out Republicans for rising inflation. He said he wants to roll back tariffs and ban certain price-changing practices. Cooper's main competitor, Michael Whatley, is also hosting an event this afternoon at 3 o'clock. We caught up with him at the polls yesterday.
We will lower costs for hard-working families. We will build a stronger North Carolina, and we will make stuff cost less.
The voters of North Carolina have made it very clear over the last several election cycles that they want a conservative champion. They want somebody who is going to fight for economic policies that will create jobs, that will raise wages, that will lower costs. Morning, guys.
Whatley has made cost of living issues a central focus of the Republican Party for years. He also stood behind President Donald Trump's policies, saying that they're cutting taxes and wasteful spending. But a recent poll found the majority of Americans disapprove of the Republican president's handling of the economy. Now, a Democrat has not won a Senate race in nearly 20 years, but also Cooper has never lost an election here in North Carolina as well. He'll be hosting several more events just like this one here today, traveling across the state, across the area to talk about several other issues, including affordable health care. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Head over to our YouTube page for additional Decision 2026 coverage. You'll find the full speeches from Roy Cooper and Michael Whatley from last night. You can also hear from Phil Berger and Sam Page on their race. In our next half hour, we'll take a look at the results for Wake and Durham County District Attorneys, as well as another race with a razor-thin margin. WRAL.com has additional information about your local races as well.
And I'm Laura Levine here in the WRAL Live Center, where we have been staying on top of the latest developments in the Middle East. And we now have new video of the big story of the day, where the U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean. The Department of Defense shared video of the attack now. And according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he says the ship was in international waters. Sri Lanka's Navy said it recovered 87 bodies and rescued 32 people after receiving a distress call from an Iranian Navy ship. So, of course, we're staying on top of all the new information here on WRAL.
Hegseth also talked a little bit more about controlling the airspace above Iran as well today. Thank you, Laura. Well, as advertised, the warm-up is here, and we have plenty more days where this is coming from. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Elizabeth, we could hit record highs this week.
We're looking at Friday as the best chance to hit that record high, but highs will be in the 80s starting tomorrow for the next 4 days after that. Take a live look at downtown Raleigh. This is Dix Park, and this is the Gibson Play Plaza, and there are plenty of people out there. I imagine we'll probably see about 3 times that many a little later on this afternoon with all this beautiful weather. We're going to see temperatures climbing into the mid-70s, maybe even upper 70s this afternoon, and it's already 71 degrees. Our wind has shifted mostly to southwesterly. That's why we have all the warm air. This high-pressure system rotating clockwise is grabbing up that warmth and pushing it right into North Carolina, and also keeping any rain up to our north for the next several days. We take a look at temperatures. We're solidly in the 60s and 70s in the Triangle, 71 Holly Springs, 68 in Apex, 69 in Knightdale, 71 in Durham and Chapel Hill. Get this, our temperatures are anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. So feels great out there. Our temperatures, Raleigh, Durham, and Fayetteville this afternoon, all in the mid-70s. And then we're going to see an even bigger jump. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We do start to see some rain moving in right about the time for the weekend. We can see some of our first thunderstorms of the year. I'll show you that coming up.
All right. We'll look for that full forecast in a bit, Elizabeth. Breaking news this noon, we are getting a look at how many hundreds of millions of dollars it would cost to renovate the Smith Center or build a new basketball arena for North Carolina. Today's report details just how much it would cost to renovate or build a new one. And coming up at 12:30, WRAL Sports investigative reporter Brian Murphy, he's going to look at the 7 options on the table for this.
A former Wake County teacher and youth pastor charged with child sex crimes appeared in court this morning. Micah Brondike is charged with indecent liberties with a minor, soliciting a child by computer, and sexual exploitation. WRAL's Flynn Snyder is live at the Holly Springs Police Headquarters. Flynn, Brondike's wife also faces charges related to drug possession.
That's right, Renee, and we're learning that all of this is stemming from an undercover operations from Holly Springs Police. As you mentioned there, Brondike's wife, who is a current administrator at Rollsville High School, is also facing drug charges. Wake County schools officials confirm that Micah Brondike is a former teacher and assistant soccer coach at Rollsville High. He stopped working there in May 2024, according to a letter sent to parents. He was arrested yesterday on warrants from Holly Springs Police that include nearly 20 charges, including child sex crimes. Court documents say Brondike was communicating with a person he believed was an underage individual, but it was really an undercover Holly Springs personnel. He appeared this morning in a Franklin County courtroom where he lives on separate drug charges. His wife, Chloe Brondike, is an assistant principal at Rollsville High. She's also been arrested on similar drug charges, and the school district says she's been suspended with pay pending a district investigation. And new in the last hour, we've confirmed that Micah Brondike is a former employee at North Carolina Wesleyan University. Both the university and Wake School officials say none of these charges are connected to any incidents that happened on campus or are related to any students. Micah Brondike is due in Wake County Court next month on the child sex crime charges. He's currently being held on a $620,000 bond. Flint Snyder, WRAL News, live in Holly Springs.
A Durham grand jury issued a felony indictment for a mother accused of killing one of her children. Andrea Faust is charged with murder and attempted murder. Investigators say in addition to her child that she's accused of killing, she's also accused of trying to kill the other child. She's being held without bond, and her next hearing is scheduled for April 9th.
Raleigh police are searching for the person who crashed a car into a fire hydrant. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at the scene just after 2 this morning over on Dandridge Drive in Biltmore Hills. Officers say after the crash, whoever was in the car left and ditched the car. They say the car appears to have been stolen.
Mr. Rawls goes to Washington. Wake Tech's president, Scott Rawls, is meeting before lawmakers in D.C. We'll talk about how he's talking up the school's effort to prepare students for AI in the workplace.
Body cam saves lives. We will take a closer look at the moment a man shot at a deputy and how that deputy says his body cam protected his life.
And new arena price tag. What we know about the potential hundreds of millions of dollars that could be spent on a new UNC basketball arena.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Happening right now here in the WRAL Live Center, a House Ethics Committee has opened an investigation into Texas Representative Tony Gonzalez here, all new this noon. It comes a day after a primary in Texas resulted in an upcoming runoff for the GOP nomination to keep his seat. Gonzalez is accused of having an affair with a staffer in his office. She died in September after setting herself on fire. It is a violation of the House's code of conduct to have a sexual relationship with a staff member. Gonzalez says that the allegations are a political job smear.
Well, this morning, Wake Tech's president testified before the U.S. House Committee on Education and Workforce. Scott Rawls discussed how to prepare students for the workforce as employers start to rely more on AI. WRAL's Ken Smith listened in on that testimony. And Ken, Rawls really talked up what Wake Tech is doing with AI and what more can be done.
He really did, Chris. And he and other panelists made the point AI is here digitally and physically in the form of robots. Dr. Rawls testified before the U.S. House Subcommittee on Education and Workforce. He told the committee Wake Tech is committed to creating AI-ready workforce. Dr. Rawls made the point Wake Tech is the leading apprenticeship institution in North Carolina. And to that end, he says the community college is seeing a renewed interest in skills trade programs like plumbing and construction, as well as technical education.
For years, we had what I sometimes refer to as an interest gap. We had the employment, we had the programs. Too often, we didn't have enough students. Now we're seeing waiting lists that we've never seen before. So I think students are seeing opportunity there, and part of that opportunity is driven by AI.
Rawls also told the committee to that end, AI literacy is a priority for both faculty and students. He also touted Wake Tech is the lead college in a recently announced pilot program that incorporates AI to train a new generation of electricians.
Yeah, certainly a lot to talk about before lawmakers. Thank you, Ken. Anthropic's AI chatbot Claude is gaining popularity after the company turned down an offer from the Pentagon. Claude overtook ChatGPT to claim the top spot in Apple's App Store over the weekend. President Trump ordered federal agencies to phase out work with Anthropic because the company refused to hand over its technology. Anthropic expressed concerns that it could be used for mass surveillance or even autonomous weapons. OpenAI then managed to make a deal with the Trump administration. CEO Sam Altman says that its contract includes language that its technology cannot be used for mass domestic surveillance or to power autonomous weapons.
Wake County school leaders voted to demolish Ligon Middle School and rebuild it on the ball fields. The school has a lot of history. Ligon replaced Washington High as Raleigh's only black high school during segregation. It later became a big part of the integration. Board members promised to preserve the school's legacy, but we spoke to an alum who feels like history is being erased.
It sounds like you feel that it's unfair the way that this school is being treated compared to others.
Without question, but that's just been the trend. Change has always been born on the brunt of us, of the black community.
The superintendent says a committee has been created dedicated to preserving the school's legacy.
A deputy in Florida says that he is alive thanks to his body cam. He and a trainee were investigating a call when a man came out of a home shooting.
Sheriff's office, how you doing? Where you on, bud?
Yeah, you could hear that. The man at that home firing his gun several times, including the one that hit the deputy's camera. After a brief shootout, authorities managed to take that man into custody.
When the deputies came up to the house, he had every intention to shoot them in their vest. And if I didn't run out of ammunition, I would have killed them all.
The sheriff says the shooter has a violent history and has been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Investigators say on February 14th, the man asked a chatbot whether he could kill someone if they came onto his property.
The weather is going to be great here over the next few days, but if you are planning a trip to the Caribbean, you now have a new direct flight. So Breeze Airways will be providing direct service to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, out of RDU. The first trip of this new flight took off at 7 this morning. Sounds like paradise, but you know what? I'm not mad about staying around here, Elizabeth, with weather like this. Know what I mean?
It's going to be hard to beat. I mean, the temperatures there probably going to be mid-70s to around 80, right? That's exactly what we're going to see here, and you can save the money. But, you know, for next winter, we will definitely keep that in mind. Let's take a look outside right now. This is a live look at Apex. Lots of sunshine out there. We're just enjoying a gorgeous day. You can see a few people out and about. Look at that. This guy's in shorts and T-shirts. I mean, it is warm. It's currently in the 60s. Well, actually, I take that back. We jumped on into the 70s, didn't we, right at the top of the hour. So 71 degrees. Winds are variable at 7 miles per hour, but it's a southwesterly wind that's helped to push up our temperatures, and we'll see highs in the mid-70s for this afternoon. But we have a long string of 80s in our forecast. We can thank this high pressure system for both the chilly temperatures we saw earlier this week and the warm up that we're seeing now. The high was back to our west, and high pressure systems rotate clockwise. So when it was to our west, it was dragging down the cold air from the north. Now it has picked up that warm air and started to move it into our area. It's also going to keep that frontal boundary well to our north. So we're just going to see beautiful weather. We'll have enough moisture now at this southwesterly flow for the chance of some patchy fog and some low cloud cover overnight for the next several nights. But in terms of how much sunshine we'll see in the afternoon, it looks great, and the temperatures will be nice and warm. 69 in Garner and Rollsville, 71 in Morrisville, 72 in Clayton right now. And I still can't get over the big temperature difference, anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees warmer than it was yesterday. We won't see as big a jump for tomorrow. We're going to go from mid-70s probably to low 80s, so maybe a 5-degree jump for tomorrow. I've noticed down Western Boulevard all the beautiful pink blooms blooms on the trees. I don't know if you've seen any of those, but they look gorgeous. We'll likely see more of that. Looks like the Bradford pears are starting to pop out a little bit, and the daffodils are up and just gorgeous everywhere. Our temperatures will be in the mid-70s for this afternoon, which is way above normal. Our normal high is 60, and then we're 20 degrees above that for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it still stays mild into next week. The closest we'll get to a record high at RDU is Friday, 82, and that's the record. We could tie it. Not that close in Fayetteville, 83, and the record is 86. But Saturday, we kind of flip it, and so we're close to the record in Fayetteville, high of 83, record of 84, but 82 in Raleigh with a record of 85. We might not quite get there, but I mean, we're kind of splitting hairs, just a few degrees. Is it early to see the first 80-degree days of the year? Not really. Our average over the last 75 years is March 18th, and so we're, a little less than 2 weeks ahead of that right now. The latest was April 27th, so it's not unusual for us to see 80-degree days this time of year. A huge chunk of the country is going to be warmer than normal, most likely well into next week, and with the warm temperatures comes the pollen. Now, the pollen today is at moderate, but the last couple of days it was high. And we tend to really see that tree pollen spiking as we get toward the end of March and early April. And we'll talk more about that as we get through the next few weeks or so. We do have the chance of some thunderstorms by late weekend. We'll check that out coming up.
Coming up tonight on our evening news, a trial date is now set.
Yeah, North Carolina nonprofit is suing the federal government over changes to the nation's organ donation system. What it could mean for thousands of patients waiting for a transplant.
And sewage issue stalling. Durham city leaders will hear about the development in the city. This only after a WRAL investigation last month put the issue in the spotlight. WRAL investigates Sarah Kruger shares details from a presentation that City Council will hear tomorrow. High-tech glass court. Still to come on this newscast, the floor of the Big 12 men's and women's basketball tournament gets an upgrade. We'll explain a few of the bells and whistles in our next half hour.
It actually looks pretty cool. Right to refuse. United Airlines quietly added a clause for passengers. The new rule that could get you booted or even banned.
WRAL's 5 on Your Side will help you sort out legal questions you may have for free. We are teaming up with the North Carolina Bar Foundation for their annual For All statewide day of service. Hundreds of licensed attorneys will be available to take your calls and questions. From government benefits to criminal charges, traffic violations, even bankruptcy issues. Get your questions ready for Lawyers on Call. The line will be open Friday from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Travelers could now be banned from United Airlines flights for not wearing headphones while listening to something. United is actually the first major U.S. airline to implement a legal policy regarding headphone use on airplanes. Passengers who don't comply could be removed from their flight or even permanently banned from the airline. Now, if you forget to pack a pair, United offers a free basic wired set of them.
The cost of progress. UNC Chapel Hill weighs numerous options. Replace or restore the Smith Center. What we know about the price tag after the break.
And hope against hope. It's been more than a month since the mother of Savannah Guthrie disappeared. The next phase in the search for answers. And we do have a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers right here on your screen.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Both ramps from Wade Avenue to I-440 are still closed right now because of a morning crash that involved a tractor trailer. As you can see, a tow truck is pulling that away from the scene as we speak. Raleigh police say one of the reasons this closure could last for a while is because of diesel fuel spilled on the roadway. And you can see crews are hard at work to clean it up. They put some sand on it first. There's no word on exactly when drivers can take that road, so avoid that area if you can.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit, it looks like. The North Carolina Tar Heels beat Clemson last night at the Dean Dome to finish a perfect 18-0 at home. But much of the conversation in Chapel Hill is actually about the Heels' next basketball home. The Smith Center is 40 years old, and the debate among Tar Heels is renovate or rebuild, or build, I should say, a new venue either on campus or at Carolina North. WRAL Sports investigative reporter Brian Murphy joins us now for more on this. Brian, you've been kind of looking at that new information about the costs of UNC's options here.
Yeah, Chris, we finally have some numbers, and they are big. UNC hired firms that deal with sports venues, and they put together a presentation to discuss the options. WRAL has that presentation, and there are 7 potential options, as you can see on the screen. UNC is still studying them, and you can see on this map of campus and the surrounding areas, but officials have really begun to narrow this down. There are 3 top options that have emerged. One, renovate the Smith Center right there where it is right now, build new at Odom Village, that's on campus, and then build new at Carolina North, about 1.5 miles away. The university wants to develop that as a new campus to accommodate growth.
Again, like you were saying, the numbers are big. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, no matter what UNC decides.
Yeah, some options are more expensive than others, but they're all over $500 million. It's $591 million to renovate. Those costs are driven up in part because of the nearby Corey Natatorium. That would have to be moved or built somewhere else. You know, it's $703 million to build at Odom Village. This is where UNC used to house its married students and students with families. It's been abandoned for a while. UNC is actually tearing those buildings down. And then Carolina North, the most expensive, $786 million. Now, there is plenty of space for development around that arena. One reason that it brings in the most revenue.
$786 million. But as you just said, the name of the game, right? Revenue. College sports cost more than ever. So how can UNC make money off a new arena?
Well, think suites, club boxes, premium spots where fans are willing to pay more. It's one of the big problems with the Smith Center, which was built in 1986, and that was before the premium seat boom, right? It has just 54 premium seats, or whatever UNC designates as premium. There are no suites. There's no club level for entertaining clients. UNC plans to have more than 3,200 premium seats at a new venue or a renovated Smith Center. That means more money per seat. And probably fewer seats overall. The Smith Center seats about 21,700. A new venue would be 16,000 or 17,000. And it's not just premium seats, right? UNC wants to make the student experience better because those students may one day buy those premium seats. You see on your screen right now what the students sit now, not great seats, right, at the current place. A new seat arena would place those seats closer to the floor. Those crazy fans help you win games, too. They give you a great home court advantage. So it's a lot for university officials to think about as they try to figure out the best option moving forward.
And for the people who are interested and see a little bit more of this, I saw the article you have written on our website, WRAL.com, that gives a pretty good breakdown of what you were just mentioning. Thanks, Brian.
Well, happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, Duke University announcing that they will increase the pay wages for employees. This is the statement coming from the Duke University president, Vincent Price. He says, our commitment to community begins with our employees, the majority of whom call Durham home. This investment in our people, along with Duke's robust benefits package, contributes to long and meaningful careers at Duke and fosters economic stability. So the pay raise now is $20 an hour. It becomes effective just this July, up from $18. As you know, we have been covering several protests over the last couple of years with Duke University employees asking for $25 an hour.
Now back to our Decision 2026 coverage. We still don't know which Democratic contender for the 4th Congressional District will move on to the general election in November. Incumbent Valerie Foushee currently leads challenger Nida Alam by 1 percentage point. That places a race in recount territory. It is just too close to call. While this race for the 4th Congressional District is a primary, it is a race for the most Democrat-leaning district in our state. The winner will likely take that House seat. The primary was a rematch of the two candidates. In 2022, Foushee beat Alam by about 10 percentage points.
Now, in the Democratic primary for Wake County District Attorney, Wiley Nickel won his party's nomination. He earned 49% of the vote, beating out Sharita Walton and Melanie Shakita. Nickel most recently served in the U.S. House for North Carolina's 13th district, but chose not to run for re-election. That's because his district was redrawn to heavily favor Republicans. And then you have the Democratic primary for Durham District Attorney. Incumbent Satana DeBerry will likely regain her seat. She beat out competitor Jonathan Wilson, earning 61% of that vote.
Head over to our YouTube page for additional Decision 2026 coverage. You'll find the full speeches from Roy Cooper and Michael Whatley. You can also hear Phil Berger and Sam Page share their thoughts on their race. WRAL.com also has additional information about your local races.
Nancy Guthrie has been missing for more than a month. Her family continues to hope and to pray for her safe return, while law enforcement expresses optimism that the case will be solved. Here's NBC's Liz Kreutz.
Well, hey there, we've talked a lot about how physical DNA is something that investigators are using to try to identify the suspect that showed up at Nancy Guthrie's home. But another type of forensics can also be used, and that is digital forensics. It's something that was used in the Brian Kohberger case when investigators were able to track his cell phone usage. And it's something that the sheriff here in Pima County tells us they're also looking into in this case to find Nancy Guthrie and the suspects. It may be, according to digital forensics experts, that they'll be able to track this person by their cell phone activity or sort of the digital footprint that they left behind. This is just one of the many ways that investigators now continue to try to work this case 32 days since Nancy went missing. We did talk to the sheriff this week, and he did say that they're continuing to try to look at the items of clothing that the suspect was wearing, but he told us that as they're looking at the Walmart sales data, they are learning that it is possible the suspect didn't actually buy that Walmart backpack from Walmart. They raised the idea that it could have been purchased at eBay or maybe another third-party site, which would make it harder to track. We also know that investigators are looking at thousands of hours of video footage in the area, and the sheriff did confirm that the traffic cameras around Nancy's home does record video. They're looking into all of that. And he said that they are also looking at that one Ring camera video that was taken 2.5 miles away around the time of Nancy's disappearance, showing a car driving by a home. He said that, yes, it's part of the investigation, but he sort of said it's not to say it's more relevant than any other video they have. He says there's thousands of cars on the road that morning that they're able to now look into. Big picture and bottom line, he says he does believe investigators have information that ultimately will lead them to solving this case, but he just stressed again, he believes it's going to take time. Back to you.
Next in this half hour of news, experience shows how our Teacher of the Week's expertise spans decades and why she says in many ways she's always learning.
Plus, a big change for the Big 12 tournament, how this new state-of-the-art basketball court stands out from the rest.
Well, our Teacher of the Week is a more than 30-year veteran of the classroom, and in that time, she has taught several grades, and she's loving every minute of it.
Ken Smith shows us how she's currently working with first graders at Forestville Road Elementary School in Wake County.
I see a 1, I see a 7.
Risha Mitchell is happiest when she is surrounded by her first grade students.
2 10s have a value of what? 20. So are they the same?
No. It's safe to say Miss Mitchell started preparing for a career in education at a very early age. How'd you get into teaching in the first place?
I played teacher with my cousins. I was the teacher. They were always the student.
She jokingly recalls running a tight ship as a pretend teacher, but having taught for more than 30 years as a credentialed teacher, she's developed her own unique style of getting the best out of her students.
If you notice, I want the students to speak more than me because they can truly show their understanding. If they're doing more of the talking than if I'm doing a bunch of speaking, I think they're the same. That's what I'm going to say. Sometimes I might say things incorrectly to see if they're going to find the mistake, which truly shows they understand the information.
Miss Mitchell is known for her leadership, her tech-savvy skills, and organizing extracurricular activities outside the classroom. But it all comes back to her greatest desire, to see her students succeed.
I see growth in all of them and just the joy of wanting to learn. We all can learn. It doesn't matter how old you are. And honestly, it doesn't matter how many years you've taught. Everyone can learn something new.
Miss Mitchell. You are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Give her a big round of applause, class. She's speechless. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Ken made her month. Now, if you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
All right, high-tech basketball court. We are going to show you what might be the floor of the future. Why the creator says this basketball court is better for athletes.
And dark galaxy detected. You can't see it, but researchers say it's there. How those researchers made that discovery. The Big 12 women's basketball tournament starts today in Kansas City, Missouri. This year, the players and fans will notice a much different court. With just a touch of an iPad, the state-of-the-art court lights up. Operators can even draw on it. The three-point arc glows, glass shatters based on the type of bucket scored, and it even has the same squeak hoops fans want to hear in a game. There are 3 layers, the glass on top, the LEDs in the middle, and the bottom layer, which players say make it much softer on their ankles and knees.
It's 2 pieces of safety glass. They are this thick each. They're laminated together with a PVB safety foil, and they are around 2.5 times as elastic as a hardwood board used to make traditional basketball courts.
Another perk, if the floor gets wet from a sweat drop, players and coaches can see the watermark much more clearly. The one-of-a-kind floor court is housed in Orlando year-round.
I will be livid if for a halftime show they don't do like the floor is lava. That would be so mad. It'd be so cool to see. All right, so NASA may have found a galaxy that could have more dark matter than ever discovered. Scientists say the Hubble Space Telescope detected what they're calling Candidate Dark Galaxy 2. They think it might be made up of at least 99.9% dark matter and has never been directly observed. Dark matter, if you didn't know, it's invisible, but its presence can be inferred due to its gravitational effects on regular matter. Pretty cool. All right. So less space and more down to earth here as we're dealing with right now. Plenty of golfers out there at Pinehurst, Elizabeth, on a beautiful day in the 70s right now.
And then it just gets even better. We're looking at a string of highs in the 80s. First time we've seen that this year. We haven't even hit 80 degrees yet, much less a string of 4 days in a row. And there's really no cold air in sight for the next maybe 10 days. And then we'll see. I mean, that gets us, well into the middle of March. So again, a look at Pinehurst looks gorgeous. Everybody's out there, shorts, short sleeves, shorts on. 71 is our temperature. Our wind is 7. It's been variable, but basically it's coming out of the south-southwest, which is why we're so warm. Check in the satellite view. This is our high-resolution satellite. Couple of passing clouds, but all the thick clouds are up to our north. Now, there is going to be enough moisture around for some low cloud cover and patchy fog tomorrow morning, so don't let that surprise you. We're going to wake up to some gray conditions, but it won't last very long. That sunshine will really help to dissipate all of that cloud cover. You can see a front here, the warm front. We have thunderstorms along it, cold front stretching southward. Some of those storms have been severe, at least a few severe thunderstorm warnings. But all of that's going to stay to our north and west for a while because high pressure is going to block it. But as it moves eastward, there's likely to be some severe weather along it. That's one thing, we're getting into the spring now. It is officially spring meteorologically. On the calendar, we still have a couple more weeks. But this is typically severe weather season. This is severe weather preparedness week. And so here we go. Today we have a severe threat from Texas all the way up toward Illinois. And then that threat slides a little bit farther east tomorrow, Texas and Oklahoma, and then intensifies on Friday, but again stays well to our west. And that threat is not going to come here, but we could see a few isolated thunderstorms. Let's talk about when. Here's Saturday morning at 8 a.m., maybe fairly cloudy Saturday morning. And I couldn't rule out an isolated shower late Saturday. It looks much more likely that we'll have rain on Sunday, but not until fairly late in the day. Here's Saturday at 8 p.m. and Sunday we start nice and dry. There's 10 a.m. But then after that, afternoon and evening, we'll likely have a round of showers and thunderstorms. If you're planning outdoor events, I feel like Saturday will be a lot drier than Sunday, so keep that in mind. And then late Sunday, the front stalls near the coast. We may have more rain or isolated storms that develops along that front Monday and Tuesday. Now, all total, it doesn't look like a whole ton of rain right now. We're going to give it a 30% chance of rain on Sunday. We could see some of that on Saturday night and then into Monday as well. But we're talking maybe a quarter of an inch, a tenth of an inch. As we start to see a little bit more coming out of that front as it moves eastward, we may up that a little bit. Another thing to remember over the weekend is we spring forward. We get more daylight at the end of the day, but of course the sun rises an hour later on Sunday morning. We do continue to hang on to the warm temperatures. Next week, even though it may be a bit unsettled, we'll still be in the upper 70s.
Yeah, that's all still really good. Let's keep spring around. A blast from the past is now gone for good. From teased hair to full-on makeup, glamour shots were an unforgettable part of the 80s and 90s. While you might find women across the nation a bit sad and nostalgic today.
We do have a look at your winning Mega Millions numbers right here on your screen. 7, 21, 53, 54, 62 with the Mega Ball 16.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. In the last hour, crews were able to get an 18-wheeler back upright after a serious tractor-trailer crash in Raleigh. A stretch of Wade Avenue between the I-440 and I-40 ramps still closed. Sky 5 captured this video after the 18-wheeler had overturned, spilling fuel on the road. Right now, both ramps remain closed as crews work to clean up the hazardous material.
We've just learned a former Roseville High School teacher in jail on several child sex charges also worked in a ministry at North Carolina Wesleyan University. Micah Brondike is facing at least 21 charges, most including sex crimes with minors. He worked at the university from 2017 to 2020, and his wife, Chloe Brondike, is the assistant principal at Roseville High. She turned herself in and is facing felony drug charges.
Today, we're expecting to hear from the state auditor's office about the next steps in the Berger-Page state Senate race. Just 2 votes separate challenger Sam Page and longtime Senate leader Phil Berger. Election officials still need to count provisional ballots and ballots from military and overseas voters. After that, if the race is still separated by less than 1%, there could be a recount.
A trial date is now set as a North Carolina nonprofit is suing the federal government over changes to the nation's organ donation system, what it could mean for thousands of patients waiting for a transplant.
Our pet of the day is full of energy and snuggly sweetness. Meet Adina. This adorable little lady brings nonstop entertainment and endless love to everyone she meets. Adina is a true kitten at heart. She is always ready for her next adventure. Her playful spirit is infectious, and she'll keep you laughing with her silly antics. Just fill out an application on the Cat Angels website, and an adoption counselor will be in touch.
A group of elementary students in Illinois celebrated the end of their cereal drive. And they did so with a good old-fashioned domino demonstration. Look at this. They lined up 335 boxes to make this happen. All the cereal will be donated to a local church to help support food banks in the community. I am from Illinois, and I know that one of our schools did the exact same thing for this, and it's always so cool to see.
Confident expressions, teased out hair, sequin tops. Every glamour shot session required all 3. And now the final studio is closed for good. The last glamour shot studio in El Paso, Texas, has closed. The portrait studio was in business for more than 35 years. The owner said she made the difficult decision to focus on her health and well-being. Glamour shots were huge in the 1980s and the 1990s, offering dramatic glam makeovers at malls. They just really tapped into women's desire to, feel like a Hollywood star. So they'd have hair and makeup artists just D all up into a glamazon. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have a photo of my mom at home in our album of one of those. Let me see if I can dig it out.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And don't forget, you can always get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a blessed day today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.